Hello everyone. So today's topic is on folding of embryo. A very important turning point of embryonic period, I can say. So this is the event that will give rise to gut tube. So when I say gut tube, all these structures associated with the GIT is going to be developed, right? So majority of the organs are going to be developed, structures are going to be developed. So it's a very important event. Like how we say this was the turning point of my life. Similarly, for an embryo, folding is a turning point. So last class we start with somites where we spoke about 20th day was the first somite to appear. Then every day 3 pairs will appear. Then sclerotome, dermatome, myotome, right? So this particular slide I've scribbled, but I know. But what I want you all to observe is these words, right? So first somite appears in the occipital regions, everything we discussed. So this was our last discussion. So today we're going to talk about foldings. Now, even in comment section, I saw one of the candidate who was asking me to explain folding, a very complicated topic. You have to have a three-dimensional view, right? So I referred almost 2 to 3 YouTube videos and I have tried to get clippings from them, and I have put in. I invested lots of time. So I hope at this end of session you will understand folding. Now, what is basically folding? If you remember during new relation, we saw that yes, there is folding that is going to happen, and as a result, a groove is formed, right? If you remember, yes, can you see neural fold? So what is fold basically? Yes, normal, no, we tend to fold our clothes and keep it in a mirror. So folding is basically, no, it is going to, there is some physical change. Folding is basically a physical change. That is the thing that you must know with respect to an embryo. So similarly, the entire embryo is going to undergo some folding. So we have to understand why the embryo is undergoing folding and what is happening. See, this folding is going to happen as the embryo is going to increase in size. So the embryonal cells are going to rapidly multiply. So if you take the endodermal cells, first there was a bilaminar germ disc, then we had trilaminar germ disc. Then these cells from the trilaminar germ disc, they gave rise to so many structures, the notochord, neural tube, somites. So there are so many structures that are forming in the embryo that the size of the embryo is going to increase, right? So when the size is going to increase and when the cell is continuously multiplying and it is rapidly growing, there has to be some physical modifications that has to happen, right? So as a result of this rapid growth and the associated structures being formed, the one physical change that the embryo is going to undergo is the folding, right? That is the thing that you must know. Very basic point that you must know is this point. Now see, this is the normal embryo, and yes, you are able to see some foldings here, right? See, observe the GIF again. Yes, it undergoes a folding like this, right? So this is what is folding. So we are going to see how it happens. Now just observe the GIF one more time. The folding happens in the blue portion. At the same time, in this region, the yolk sac region, there undergoes some changes. So folding is going to happen in different planes, and the structures are going to undergo some modifications. So we'll see what happens. Now you need to have a 3D imagination. Yes, so this is a 3D picture. Now this is the epiblast and this is the hypoblast. So this is my amniotic cavity. This is my yolk sac. Yes, this is the amniotic cavity. This is the yolk sac. And this blue color one is the layer of cell in between them. Now, what difference can you observe in this picture is, can you appreciate a folding here? Yes, initially see it was a flat structure. Then what had happened, this embryo had undergone a folding like this. Yes, can you make out? Yes. So what is happening with respect to embryo is, the folding is going to happen in two planes. Listen carefully. This is the point that you must know. If you are going to get this point, the entire folding is going to be very easy. The embryonic folding is going to happen in two planes. Say suppose this is the amniotic cavity. Yes, this is the amniotic cavity. The folding will happen in two planes. One is the longitudinal plane. Yes, one is the longitudinal plane. Yes, along this plane, longitudinal plane. Other one is a transverse plane. Another one is a transverse plane, right? So in this plane. Just have a 3D view. So if you want me to tell from this picture, this is the longitudinal section, right? So this is the longitudinal axis, and this will be my transverse axis. So the folding is going to happen in two ways. Yes, one in this direction. Yes, one folding is going to happen in this direction. The other folding is going to happen in this direction. So if I show you the pictures, you will be able to understand. So first get a view that the folding happens in two planes. One is the longitudinal plane, another one is the transverse plane or the sagittal plane. So these are the two planes in which the folding is going to happen. Now see, this is the longitudinal plane. So what it is going to give rise to is the folding is going to go in this direction. So the longitudinal plane is going to give rise to two folds, head and the tail. Yes, the longitudinal plane is going to give rise to two folds, head and the tail. And the transverse plane is going to give rise to two lateral folds. Right? Say suppose the embryo, this side is also covered, right? I'm telling you the transverse plane is in this direction. So this is a lateral fold, and similarly, if this is complete, from here you will have another lateral fold. Right? I'll show you a picture, you will understand, but just orient yourself to this picture. You have got a longitudinal plane, transverse plane. Longitudinal plane is going to give rise to head and tail folds. Transverse plane is going to give rise to, yes, two lateral folds, right? Now, let us get to the picture here. So this is a picture showing the longitudinal folds. Yes, can you make out this longitudinal portion? So it has undergone folding in this direction, right? So can you appreciate the axis along this direction? So this is my longitudinal fold. So what are these ends called as? So this is my head fold and this is my tail fold. Right? And can you appreciate, as a result of folding, it is beginning to cover, right? It is going to take along with it structures which are beneath it. So this blue color one and yolk sac one. So slowly what happens is the disc is trying to get incorporated. Okay, we'll see that later. But now this is the longitudinal fold. Now, yes, I have cut section, right? I have made a cut at the sagittal section. So this will be my sagittal section. I have made a cut. Can you appreciate this particular folding, this one? So this will be my transverse. So what will happen is the layer of cells will try to fold in this direction. So here I'll be having a lateral fold and the other side, right? Here you'll be having its counterpart. From there I'll be having another fold. So this is the lateral folds. So this is the transverse plane. Yes, this is the transverse plane where the folding happens as a two lateral folds. So this is going to go underneath this and cover the structure. Yes, so one was the longitudinal fold that we saw here, right, in this direction. The other one is happening in this direction. Can you make out infolding, right? It is going there. If I want to say in Tamil, pin pakkama or madippu madikranga. Okay, that is the transverse fold, right, from the backward. So in the transverse plane. Yes, can you make out? As a result, what will happen? Yes, what I have done here, I have observing the transverse section. Yes, this particular portion, what I have done is I have removed the hypoblast, yes, and I am putting it upside down. Okay, Tamil, if I want to tell, okay, I am just putting it upside down and I am appreciating the transverse fold. So this is the two lateral folds that are invaginating slowly inside. Right? So from the front, you have got the longitudinal fold that forms the head and the tail part. From the transverse plane, yes, from the transverse plane, you have got a folding that again tries to occupy the disc structures. So why these folds are happening? Because of rapid proliferation of cells and the embryonic development. How the fold happens? Yes, fold happens in two planes. One is the longitudinal plane, another one is the transverse plane. In the longitudinal plane, I have got the head and the tail folds. In the transverse plane, I've got the two lateral folds. So if you observe this picture now, this is the longitudinal section where I have got the head and the tail folds. Right, head and the tail folds. Are able to understand? So the other one would have been the transverse fold that would have happened in this direction. Right? So it is a bit complicated, but just understand you have got two planes of fold. That is what I want to repeat for this entire class. Now, this is how a structure will look. So I am observing from a longitudinal section, right? Can you appreciate the folds? And slowly what is happening? The yolk sac is also invaginating into this groove, right? And as a result, the structure that is formed here is called as the primitive gut that we'll be seeing now. So far what we have seen that the folding happens because of rapid proliferation of growth happens in two planes, and one plane gives rise to head and the tail fold. Yes, which plane? Longitudinal plane. Other is the transverse plane, which is going to go in a transverse in a median plane, right? Along the median plane, it is going to enter into, like, it is going to fold along the downward direction, right? That is the transverse fold. And as a result, both of these foldings happen at a single time. And what happens is structures from the yolk sac and in between layers are going to slowly get into the amniotic cavity, right? Now see, this is how it looks. So what will happen is, as I have discussed in neurulation, as the folding happens, right, you would have seen there a neural groove would have been found which will approximate, and I told you the neural tube will dissociate from the structure, if you remember my class. So you should always have this understanding that when a folding happens, right, I told you the folding will happen continuously, right? As a result, there will be approximation. So the neural groove, which will later form neural tube, will come along, it will detach from the underlying epidermis layer and it will stand alone. The same thing is going to happen here. As the folding is going to happen, is what is happening continuously, the embryo is going to get into the amniotic cavity. Yes, and there is approximation of the yolk sac, and this is what is called as definitive yolk sac. We would have seen primitive yolk sac, secondary yolk sac, and finally, as a result of neural folding, the yolk sac that is formed is called as a definitive yolk sac. Do you get how a folding happens? If you have this basic understanding, you can crack folding, right? Whenever, if suppose gut tube formation is asked as a question, you'll be able to appreciate. So this basic idea you should have. What is a folding, in what planes it happens, as a result what is going to happen, right? As a result of folding of embryo, there is a formation of primitive gut tube. So can you make out this is the primitive gut tube that we are going to discuss soon, right? So first thing, you have got an head fold, a tail fold, you have got a two lateral folds, and those lateral folds along with the head and the tail folds are going to help in the primitive tube formation, right? So during this neural folding, what happens to the yolk sac is the yolk sac is going to continuously compress in size. It is going to form a tube-like structure or a cord-like structure that we call it as a definitive yolk sac. So this much of information you have to know, right? So hope you have understood this. So this is the picture given in Langman. Yes, can you make out what kind of folding is mentioning here? You all will tell now. Yes, very good. It is longitudinal folding. Along the longitudinal plane, right? The folding had happened, right? Because it is going to fold in this direction. So I get the head and the tail part, right? If you would have given in this direction, yes, it would have been a transverse plane, a sagittal section plane, right? So yes, can you make out the folding had happened? So I have got the head and the tail part. And what happens is continuously, along with the foldings, what happens, since the embryo is also increasing in size, the part of the embryo, the trilaminar germ disc, will slowly enter into the amniotic cavity. Yes, can you make out? Almost half of the yolk sac had also come into the amniotic cavity. So what happens here is, as the folding happens, yes, as the folding happens, the trilaminar germ disc will get into the amniotic cavity along with part of an yolk sac. Is very, very, very important. This part of an yolk sac, which enters as a tube containing the endodermal cells, is called as the primitive tube. Can you see the size of the yolk sac? Observe in A, B, and observe in C. Yes, because of this extreme folding, now the folding is almost complete. So what had happened? The embryo has compressed in size. Can you make out? Yes, it has undergone some changes, and the yolk sac is also compressed to size. It forms a stalk-like structure, and some part of the yolk sac had entered into the amniotic cavity. Just observe the GIF one more time. Yes, see. Can you appreciate how it had entered? Yes, almost see half of the yolk sac had entered into the cavity now. Yes, can you make out? Yes. So that is what happens, right? So what happens? The part of the yolk sac enters as a tube-like structure containing endodermal cell, and that is called primitive tube. So which germ layer gives rise to gut tube? Is the endodermal cells. Right? How this endodermal cell gives rise to primitive tube? As you all know, as a result of folding, some part of the yolk sac, a layer of endodermal cells containing tube-like structure, is going to enter into the embryonic cavity or the amniotic cavity and forms a primitive tube. Right? And as I told you, continuously there is an approximation. Right? And what happens is, almost the yolk sac is not going to be connected to the amniotic cavity. Yes, can you make out? Yolk sac is not going to be connected to amniotic cavity at all, but there is one site where the connection is going to be there, a narrow tube that connects the gut and the yolk sac. Yes, almost if you take, initially the entire gut had some connections. Yes, can you make out? But slowly what happened is the gut did not have any connection, but except at one side, that is called vitelline duct. Right, I'll explain this point again now. Before that, you have to understand how the gut is going to do. Now, slowly is what happens, primitive tube is formed. The primitive gut tube is formed as a result of tubular endodermal cells, right? Here itself he has given. So slowly what happened is it slowly begins to differentiate and I get three parts, the foregut, hindgut, and in between I will have something called as the midgut. So this part is the midgut. If you want me to mark here, this is the midgut. Yes, so the primitive tube had began to form and it has been differentiated into three layers. Initially, if you take all the three parts, that is the foregut, midgut, hindgut, everything is in connection or in continuation with the yolk sac. Yes, can you make out? For this is the part foregut in continuation, midgut continuation, hindgut continuation. But as this approximation and the narrowing of the yolk sac happens, the foregut and the hindgut establishes no connection with the yolk sac except the midgut portion. So this midgut is going to be connected to the yolk sac by a narrow tube called as vitelline duct. We will see the role of vitelline duct right in the placenta. So it is going to be connected to the umbilical cord. We'll discuss that later in the placenta of time. So just have to know that the primitive tube has got three differentiating parts, the foregut, midgut, hindgut. And initially all the three parts are in continuation with the yolk sac, but later the midgut alone is in continuation with the yolk sac by means of a narrow tube called vitelline duct. Right? Now simultaneously, can you appreciate certain structures? See, if suppose I exit 25 minutes, do not mistake me because a very important topic. He has given something called oropharyngeal membrane, cloacal membrane. Now, immediately you will think, I have heard this term somewhere before. Yes, sir, you have told me this. Yes, where I would have told you is during this procaudal plate and the cloaca. If you remember, during the notochord formation, yes, come to this picture, we would have seen primitive streak, primitive node. This is the procaudal plate. What we would have told, the mesoderm that is formed will migrate all along except the region along the procaudal plate and this connecting stalk. Right, so there you will not have any mesodermal cells and you will have only the ectodermal and the endodermal lining. So since the mesoderm is not present there, the lining is going to be very thin, forming a membrane called as oropharyngeal membrane. And in the caudal part, you will be having the cloacal membrane. As you all know this, the region where the mesoderm is not going to cover, and that is going to give rise to a membranous structure called oropharyngeal membrane in the cranial part, cloacal membrane in the caudal part. Now, what is the fate of oropharyngeal membrane? Purpose of oropharyngeal membrane? Let's come to this picture. See, this is what is embryology. It is a continuous process, right? So you have to definitely correlate with the previous structures and study. Now, can you make out? Now, this is the gut portion. Yes, can you appreciate? This is the foregut, this is the notochord, and this is the origin of tongue and all that. Now, this is the structure called stomodium. What is stomodium? Is the oral cavity. Yes, what is that? It is the oral cavity. Now, foregut will give rise to a lot of structures like pharynx and all that. As I told you, it is going to give rise to entire GIT. So, foregut is going to give rise to pharynx. So, this is an endodermal derivative. Yes, the stomodium is a different derivative, right? Now, what will happen is, you all know in an adult, the oral cavity is continuous with the pharynx cavity, right? So, you have a part called oropharynx. If you will be studying it, pharynx has got a nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx. So, the oral cavity that communicates with the pharynx is called as the oropharynx, right? So, the oral cavity is also continuous with the pharynx. But in the embryo, what happens is, the buccopharyngeal membrane is going to separate the oral cavity. Yes, it is going to separate the oral cavity from the pharynx. But after some time, at the end of 5th week, what will happen is the buccopharyngeal membrane will disappear, will rupture, and the oral cavity is going to become continuous with the pharynx. Right? So what is the role of buccopharyngeal membrane is it is going to separate the stomodium from the pharynx that is derived from the foregut. It has to rupture along the 5th week. At the end of the 5th week, the buccopharyngeal membrane will rupture and it establishes a connection between stomodium and the foregut. Yes, I hope I am clear. That is about the oropharyngeal membrane. So cloacal membrane I have already told, right? So to precisely talk about cloacal membrane, what I would like to tell is this cloacal membrane will separate the anal canal. So anal canal, you will have an upper part and a lower part. The cloacal membrane is going to separate the anal canal, the upper part of the anal canal with the lower part of anal canal. I don't want to dump you with so much of facts. So we'll just precisely talk. Okay, upper part of the anal canal from the lower part of anal canal. When I discuss GIT, we'll be discussing. Okay. So this is a picture that I want to tell to explain about the vitelline duct. Yes, can you see remnant of the oropharyngeal membrane? So almost it will start establishing connection. You will have some remnants there. Okay. So this is the vitelline duct, which is a narrow connection between the midgut and the yolk sac. And you see lung bud, liver bud, all that we'll be seeing in GI. Right. Now, these are the structures that will be found. Now, before the head fold, that is along the mesoderm, we will be having these structures, the septum transversum, which will give rise to diaphragm, arch and pericardial cavity, buccopharyngeal membrane, neural tube and notochord, primitive node, primitive stick, cloacal membrane, connecting stalk with allantois. Now, once the gut is formed, how these structures are getting distributed? As can you see ventral to gut, that is the cranial, cranial to caudal, ventral to duct, dorsal to gut, cranial to gut, caudal to gut. Now, ventral to gut, you can find structures like stomodium, pericardial cavity and the heart, septum transversum, connecting stalk with allantois. Yes, can you see? This is the ventral part of the gut. So you'll be able to appreciate the stomodium, buccopharyngeal membrane, heart and the pericardial cavity. Along with, if you come down, you'll be having the cloacal membrane and the allantois. Dorsal to the gut, you'll be finding the neural tube and the notochord, primitive node, primitive stick. Yes, you all know, right? And then cranial to gut, you'll be finding the brain vesicle, a derivative of neural tube. And then caudal to gut, you'll be having the proctodium. What is this proctodium? It's the lower part of anal canal. I told you right just now, the cloacal membrane is going to separate the upper part of the anal canal from the lower part of the anal canal. This lower part of the anal canal is called as the proctodium. I'm sorry. So this is the hind gut. This is the hind gut. So here you will be having the proctodium, right? Here you will be having the proctodium, such a structure present dorsal to the gut. Ventral to the gut, yes, can you appreciate structures here? You will be having, I'll show this picture just a minute. Yes, appreciate these structures. Yes, you have the heart tube and all that here. So it is ventral to the duct. So, I mean, gut, right? Duct, gut, yes, it is gut. Okay, so this is about your neural folding. So it would have been a very vague topic. You would have seen that what this man explained. But what I want you all to understand is the planes of folding, right? I have not got into the details of gut tube because that will come in systemic, right? I cannot discuss that now because it will be a very long session. What I want you all to simply understand is the first point, two planes of neural folding. And you have to orient to the picture, right? So one is the longitudinal, another one is the transverse, right? Then what happens is there is compaction of the yolk sac and the entire embryo is going to get covered by the amniotic cavity. It is very important, right? Yes, can you appreciate in this picture? This is the growing embryo. So can you appreciate it has been entirely covered by the amniotic cavity? So the entire embryo is going to be covered by the amniotic cavity as a result of folding. That is the point you must know. Then what happens as a result of this? Yes, during this folding, some part of the yolk sac is going to enter into the embryo, which is going to have a tube-like structure containing endoderm, and that forms your primitive tube, primitive gut tube. And this primitive gut tube has got three parts: the foregut, midgut, hindgut. Initially, all are in connection with the yolk sac, but later, as the folding, as the day goes by, only the midgut is going to establish a connection with the yolk sac through a narrow tube, and that duct is called as the vitelline duct. Then you have to know about the buccopharyngeal membrane that is going to separate the stomodium from the pharynx. It will rupture at the end of the 5th week, so it will provide a continuous connection. So you have the oropharynx development, right? And this table, it's good to know, not must know, it is good to know, right? So that you can fill pages if suppose neural folding is asked in short note, right? So this is the thing that you must know. Yes. So you can just rewind the video, quickly go through the structures and see if you have understood. If you have not understood yet, just ping me. I'll try to explain you the foldings again, right? So with this, I'd like to end the video. Thank you all. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.